The conference room at Pinnacle Technologies still looked exactly as it had 3 years ago, all sleek glass and chrome, designed to convey power and innovation. I remembered sitting at this very table, presenting my vision for the company's future, only to have it dismissed with patronizing smiles and carefully worded rejections. Now, as CEO of Nova Systems, I was here for a different kind of presentation. My company's acquisition of Pinnacle was about to be announced, and the same board members who had once deemed me unsuitable for leadership were awaiting my arrival. The journey to this moment began in that same room 3 years earlier. I had been Pinnacle's head of product development, responsible for several of their most successful innovations. My team's projects had consistently outperformed expectations, driving significant revenue growth and technological advancement. When the position of Chief Technology Officer opened up, I was the obvious candidate. My track record was impeccable, my technical expertise unquestioned, and my leadership capabilities demonstrated through numerous successful projects. The selection committee had even indicated that I was the frontrunner. Then came the board meeting that changed everything. Alexandra, Richard Henderson, the board chairman, had said with what he probably thought was kindness, "Your qualifications are impressive, but the board isn't ready for female leadership in such a critical division. We need someone who can command respect in an industry that's still predominantly male." The other board members had nodded in agreement, as if this statement somehow made perfect sense in 2022. They proceeded to explain how they had selected James Parker, my junior by both years and experience, for the position. "James has a more traditional leadership style," they said. "He'll be a better fit for our corporate culture." I maintained my composure throughout the meeting, thanking them for their consideration. But as I packed up my presentation materials, I made a decision that would reshape not just my career, but the entire industry. That evening, I called Maria Chun, a venture capitalist I had met at a tech conference the previous year. She had been impressed by my ideas and had given me her card with a note. "When you're ready to do something bigger, call me." "Maria," I said when she answered, "I'm ready." We met the next morning at her office in downtown San Francisco. I presented my vision for a new kind of tech company, one that would combine cutting-edge innovation with inclusive leadership and collaborative culture. "The industry doesn't need another hierarchical structure where good ideas die in middle management," I explained. "We need an organization that cultivates innovation at every level, that recognizes talent regardless of gender, background, or traditional credentials." Maria listened intently, occasionally making notes. When I finished, she asked one question. "How much do you need?" $50 million for the initial phase, I replied without hesitation. "I have a team ready to move, top engineers, developers, and designers who are tired of being overlooked and undervalued." She didn't blink at the number. "Send me the complete business plan by tomorrow. I'll have an answer for you within a week." The answer came in 3 days. Full funding approved, with an option for an additional $100 million in the second round. Maria would join the board, along with 2 other prominent women in tech who shared our vision. My resignation from Pinnacle was brief and professional. I didn't mention my plans or express any bitterness about their decision. I simply thanked them for the opportunities I'd had and moved on. Within a month, Nova Systems was operational. We secured office space in a renovated warehouse in the south of Market District, designing an environment that encouraged collaboration and creativity. The open floor plan included multiple workshop spaces, testing labs, and informal meeting areas where teams could gather to solve problems and share ideas. As word spread about our new venture, applications poured in. We hired based on talent and potential, deliberately seeking out candidates who had been overlooked by traditional tech companies. Our team quickly grew to include brilliant minds from diverse backgrounds, each bringing unique perspectives to our projects. Our first product launch came 6 months later, a revolutionary cloud security platform that addressed vulnerabilities other companies had ignored. The technology was sophisticated, but our approach was fundamentally different. We had developed it by bringing together experts from various fields, including some who had never worked in tech before. The platform's success was immediate and overwhelming. Major corporations began switching to our service, attracted by its superior performance and innovative features. Industry analysts praised our fresh approach to cybersecurity, with one noting that we had solved problems others didn't even recognize existed. James Parker, my replacement at Pinnacle, gave interviews dismissing our success as beginner's luck. "They've had one good product," he said. "Let's see if they can sustain that innovation." We answered with 3 more successful launches in the next 18 months. Each product showcased not just technical excellence, but a deep understanding of user needs that our competitors had missed. Our revenue grew exponentially, and our market valuation soared. Meanwhile, Pinnacle began to struggle. Their new products, developed under James's leadership, were uninspired iterations of existing technology. They lost market share to both Nova and other competitors, and their stock price declined steadily. I kept track of their situation not out of spite, but because I had always known our paths would cross again. The tech industry was changing rapidly, and companies that clung to outdated leadership models were falling behind. 2.5 years after founding Nova, Maria called me into her office. Pinnacle's board is considering selling, she said. Their major shareholders have lost confidence in the current leadership. I nodded, having anticipated this development. What's their asking price? Less than what we raised in our last funding round, she replied with a slight smile. They're desperate, and they know you're their best option. The irony of the situation wasn't lost on me. The same board that had deemed me unsuitable for leadership would now have to consider selling their company to the one I had built from scratch. I spent the next week reviewing Pinnacle's financials and technical assets. Despite their recent struggles, they still had valuable intellectual property and talented employees who could thrive in the right environment. The acquisition made strategic sense for Nova, beyond any personal satisfaction it might bring. Now, sitting in my old conference room, waiting to address the board, I felt no triumph or vindication. This wasn't about proving them wrong. It was about moving the industry forward. The board members filed in, their expressions a mixture of resignation and apprehension. Richard Henderson took his seat at the head of the table, looking significantly older than he had 3 years ago. I opened my laptop, ready to present Nova's acquisition plan and my vision for the combined company's future. The technology industry was evolving, and leadership could no longer be constrained by outdated prejudices and assumptions. The boardroom was finally ready for me, not because I had changed, but because I had changed the game entirely. The acquisition presentation proceeded with methodical precision. I outlined Nova Systems' vision for integrating Pinnacle's assets, preserving valuable intellectual property, while transforming the corporate culture that had led to their decline. Our due diligence has identified significant synergies between our organizations, I explained, moving through the detailed slides. Pinnacle's established market presence combined with Nova's innovation pipeline could accelerate growth for both entities. However, this will require substantial organizational changes. Richard Henderson shifted uncomfortably in his chair. What kind of changes are you proposing? Complete restructuring of the leadership framework, I replied. Nova's flat organizational structure and collaborative development model will be implemented across all divisions. We've found this approach significantly increases innovation speed and product quality. James Parker, who had been required to attend as current CTO, interjected. Our traditional structure has served this company for decades. You can't simply dismantle. Your traditional structure, I interrupted quietly, has resulted in 6 consecutive quarters of declining revenue and market share. The technology industry doesn't reward tradition. It rewards innovation and adaptability. The presentation continued with detailed projections demonstrating how Nova's management philosophy had consistently outperformed industry standards. Our products reached market faster, showed higher user satisfaction rates, and generated stronger revenue growth. Most importantly, I concluded, we've achieved these results while maintaining one of the highest employee retention rates in the industry. People stay because they're valued, heard, and given genuine opportunities to contribute regardless of their background. The board members exchanged glances. They understood the implications. Their company's survival depended on accepting the very leadership approach they had rejected 3 years ago. Maria Chun, who had accompanied me to the meeting, spoke up. The offer expires in 48 hours. Given Pinnacle's current market position, I suggest you consider it carefully. The board requested a brief recess to confer privately. When they returned, Richard Henderson's expression had shifted from apprehension to resignation. The board has voted to accept Nova Systems' offer, he announced. We recognize that the industry has evolved, and perhaps our perspective needed to evolve as well. The following months transformed both companies in ways few had anticipated. We maintained Pinnacle's brand for established products while integrating their development teams into Nova's collaborative structure. The transition wasn't always smooth, but the results spoke for themselves. Within 6 months of the acquisition, the combined company launched a groundbreaking artificial intelligence platform that seamlessly integrated Pinnacle's extensive data infrastructure with Nova's innovative user interface design. The product's success exceeded even our optimistic projections. More significantly, the corporate culture began to shift. Pinnacle's employees, initially skeptical of our non-traditional approach, embraced the opportunity to contribute more directly to product development. Ideas that would have previously died in middle management flourished in our open innovation environment. 1 year after the acquisition, I received an email from James Parker, who had initially resigned but later asked to remain in a senior development role. "I need to apologize," he wrote. "I was wrong about your leadership style and about many other things. You've shown me a better way to build both products and teams." The tech industry took notice of our success. Articles analyzing the Nova method appeared in major business publications. Harvard Business Review published a case study on our management philosophy. Other companies began adopting elements of our approach, recognizing that diverse leadership and inclusive innovation weren't just ethically sound, they were good business. 2 years post-acquisition, I was invited to deliver the keynote address at the World Technology Summit. Standing on that stage, I shared not just our company's success story, but a vision for the industry's future. Technology leadership isn't about maintaining traditional power structures, I told the assembled executives and entrepreneurs. It's about creating environments where innovation can come from anywhere, where good ideas are evaluated on their merits rather than their source, and where diversity of perspective is recognized as a competitive advantage. The speech resonated beyond the tech sector, sparking discussions about leadership and inclusion across various industries. I began receiving invitations to speak at business schools and corporate retreats, sharing our experience of transforming an established company through progressive leadership. Richard Henderson attended one of these presentations. Afterward, he approached me with an unexpected request. "My granddaughter is studying computer science," he said. "Would you be willing to mentor her? She needs to see that there are no limits to what she can achieve." Today, Nova Systems consistently ranks among the top technology companies globally, not just in financial performance, but in employee satisfaction and innovation metrics. Our board of directors, once entirely male, now reflects the diversity we promote throughout the organization. The original Pinnacle conference room has been converted into an innovation lab where teams from all levels of the company can present new ideas. The chrome and glass remain, but the atmosphere has completely changed. Instead of intimidating formality, the space buzzes with creative energy. Recently, a junior developer stopped me in the hallway. "I read about what happened with Pinnacle's board," she said. "About how they said the industry wasn't ready for female leadership. What made you decide to start your own company instead of just finding another job?" I considered the question carefully. "Sometimes," I replied, "when people tell you you're not ready for something, what they really mean is they're not ready for change. But change doesn't wait for permission. It happens when someone has the courage to show a better way." The technology industry continues to evolve, and Nova evolves with it. We've expanded into new markets, developed groundbreaking technologies, and consistently demonstrated that inclusive leadership drives innovation. The acquisition of Pinnacle wasn't just a business transaction. It was a catalyst for industry-wide transformation. As for that boardroom where I was once told I couldn't lead, it's now the setting for our monthly innovation showcases, where employees from all backgrounds present their ideas directly to senior leadership. The old power dynamics have been replaced by collaborative energy, and the results speak for themselves. The board is definitely ready for me now. More importantly, they're ready for the next generation of leaders who will continue pushing boundaries and breaking down barriers. Because in the end, true leadership isn't about maintaining the status quo. It's about having the vision to see beyond it and the courage to chart a new course.